Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Self-Improvement Project. I hope you are all well. I have been experimenting with these morning episodes in the last few weeks and really enjoying them. And the timing of listening to a podcast can really have a big impact on your day. I obviously make these episodes every Monday, have done for over 3 years now. And I was just thinking there, I hope that listening to this on a Monday gives you that little pick-me-up, that little bit of encouragement for the week. I always think this whether I'm working or I'm off or I have a break. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do for work. Every day has a feeling. Mondays will always feel like Mondays. Fridays will always feel like Fridays. So I hope that not just this episode, but this podcast can give you that little bit of respite every Monday. Now, the concept and idea I want to let you think about today is all about our goals in life, the growth we want to achieve, and explore the feeling behind this. Now, there's two ways that we can approach life. We can approach life very driven, ambitious, goal-orientated. And the word I'm going to use a few times today is going to be conditional. And the other way that we live is without goals. It's more unconditional. It's living probably, as I would describe, more freely. There's less expectation that we put upon ourselves. Now look, I'm not going to spend this episode comparing the pros and cons of each one. That's part of experience that we learn from, and we can hear experiences from others about this as well. However, I want to encourage you, because it's on the minority side, to think about your life without goals, without that drive and high achieving ambition for a second. And we are blessed and very lucky to be in a situation where we can let famous rich people go through this experience for us, where they achieve all of their dreams and realize that they still feel empty inside. This is such a key lesson for us to use for our own lives. There is no goal that we hit and then feel complete. We don't spend enough time enjoying the process of this moment and the challenge that the everyday work that we put ourselves into entails. That is the dream. That is your dreams coming true. Those times where you work on projects that time flies by, you don't think about anything else in a good way, and when you stop, you realize that you can breathe. There's something so beautiful and pure about that again, we don't give it the status and credit that it deserves. I would argue on a daily basis. We need to stop aiming for this satisfaction, this concept that is essentially elusive, and thinking that there is a happily ever after. My challenge to you right now and today is Are you already living a life that you unconditionally love? And the next layer of that question is, are you just not realizing it? There will be so many great things in your life that other people would want and would love to have. Yet, it's one of these things that, because we're not focused on it, we don't appreciate it enough. We take it for granted. We're aiming for something we think we want when everything we have is actually around us and we're not looking at it. We're not making the most of it. We're almost scared and frightened by the fact that we maybe already have the things that we need. That more is not going to make us happier. There's a existential question that we say, is that all there is? Yet, if you don't grab that and hold on to it, as simple as it may be, you'll lose it and you'll spend the rest of your life wishing that you had it back. I like to think that there's an idea here of being all in on living a certain way. The best things in life are unconditional. Take a moment to think about that. And I'm not meaning there's no pressure with unconditionality. I'm talking about you have things that are unconditional that you will work on forever to look after them. You will always improve your skills with your job and your career. You will always work on your relationships to nurture them and make sure that you're present throughout them and you're responding in the most natural and loving way as possible to make sure that that relationship is always looked after. Your lifestyle, exercise, health, diet, all of these things are unconditional. Diets are conditional. We need to find these things that come from an unconditional place of love and stop living for these goals and things that we think that we should be doing. Yes, don't get me wrong, if you feel a bit lost, you will stumble across things at certain moments in your life that create that. So we need to put ourselves out there. But there is so much in front of us that we do not make the most of. One of the best exercises you can do is think back to when you were maybe 8 or 9 years old. And what were the things that you loved at that age? There's always room for using those things to add more joy back to your life. These are the unconditional things. This is the really simple start. How does that feed into your hobbies, your relationships, your work, and your lifestyle? So I'm encouraging you here to think more unconditionally, to stop putting the pressure on yourself to achieve in things that don't actually matter to you. There will be some, don't get me wrong, and pressure is good. I am not saying that we need to remove pressure from our life. I'm not saying that we need to remove pain. But as I've said before, it's the things that we're willing to suffer for are those things that are unconditional. You don't need to put a reason behind fighting for a relationship when it matters unconditionally to you. You don't need to justify doing a certain sport or exercise when it matters to you. You just do it. And that's a big part, essentially, of the beauty of life, that purity that I'm talking about. It makes your life unique and worth living for yourself. Don't be that person that feels like they've wasted years doing something that they don't want to do or that doesn't really matter to them because you weren't brave enough or you didn't feel like it was the right thing to do. This theme that I want you to think about this week is how to live an unconditional life. What are those things that truly matter to you that you're not making the most of? What can you change this week that will allow you to move closer to that unconditional life? And that's me today. I hope you've enjoyed those thoughts. I hope if you're subscribing that you're enjoying these morning podcasts as well. If you have any thoughts about them or any questions about the podcast whatsoever, reach out to me. Let me know what you think, and I'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, have a great week, and I will see you all next time. Cheers.